What's up people, I'm Carl Metalhead and welcome to Birmingham. With the Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath playing their last ever gig at Villa Park this July, the city of Birmingham will be visited by fans from all over the globe. So here's a Metalhead's guide to the city. We'll be taking in all the historical landmarks, bars and locations that you'll want to know about when visiting Birmingham. Our tour begins here on the concourse at New Street Station, where we'll find our first literally unmissable landmark. After winning the city's heart during the opening ceremony of the 2022 Commonwealth Games, this 10-metre tall mechanical bull was given a new lease of life when it was rebuilt and placed in the heart of New Street Station as a permanent installation. More than 28,000 votes were cast to name the sculpture, which was originally known as Raging Bull, with Ozzy getting more than 70% of the votes. The other names in contention were Boston, a well-used Midlands phrase meaning excellent, Brummie, describing people who come from Birmingham, and Bolton, after pioneering 18th century industrialist Matthew Boulton. Located on the corner of Hill Street and Station Street, opposite the entrance to New Street Station, is the Crown Pub, which hosted some of Black Sabbath's first ever gigs. In September of 1968, local band Earth played at a club night known as Henry's Blues House. Earth played at the Crown more than any other venue, and they were regularly performing Black Sabbath material during this time. The Crown was where, in late 1969 and early 1970, Earth played some of their very first gigs as Black Sabbath. Other significant bands to have played here include UB40 and Duran Duran, the two other big bands from Brum, as well as Thin Lizzy, Judas Priest and several bands fronted by eventual Led Zeppelin frontman Robert Plant. The building has sat empty since 2014 and was given Grade 2 listed status in March of 2024, hopefully preventing it from unauthorised alteration or demolition. As we head towards Broad Street, we pass through Victoria Square and the Town Hall, where this 6-metre rusty statue has stood tall since 1993. Sculpted by Anthony Gormley, whose most famous work is the Angel of the North in Gateshead, it represents the traditional skills of Birmingham and the Black Country that were used during the Industrial Revolution. Originally untitled, locals soon gave it the nickname Iron Man, which Gormley requested become its official name. A Walk of Stars, similar to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, runs along the pavement on Broad Street. Ozzy Osbourne was the first person to be honoured when he had his brass star installed on 6th of July 2007, with Tony Iommi being presented his on 23rd of November 2008. This bridge crossing the Birmingham Canal was renamed to Black Sabbath Bridge in 2019, following a petition to get Geezer Butler a star. It's estimated that more than 1 million people visit this location every year. Hidden away behind the International Convention Centre and just over the road from the Utility Arena, the Flapper is one of Birmingham's longest running alternative pubs and music venues. So I've attended countless gigs here and even played here with my own bands. As you can see, its canal-side location makes the Flapper perfect for day drinking on those rare occasions when Birmingham gets some sunshine. A couple of miles away from Birmingham city centre is Aston, the area where the 4 founding members of Black Sabbath are from. 14 Lodge Road is the house where Ozzy, parents Lillian and John, and his 5 siblings lived. In an interview from 1995, Ozzy recalls carving the words Iron Void into one of the bricks above the doorstep while he was trying to come up with band names. Behind the houses, on Whittam Road, are a row of shops, one of which is 17-year-old Ozzy Burgles, which resulted in him spending 6 weeks in Winson Green Prison. An 8-minute walk away is 88 Victoria Road, where bassist Geezer Butler was born. He lived here with his Irish parents Mary and James and 6 siblings. Ozzy and Geezer first played in a band together called Rare Breed, with Geezer actually being the guitarist, but that group only lasted 2 gigs. They then formed Polka Tulk Blues with Tony Iommi and Bill Ward, whose band Mythology had recently split. They later changed the name to Earth, and well, we know how things went from there. Our final stop in Aston is the former Newtown Community Centre, where Black Sabbath were known to rehearse, and they even wrote the tracks Wicked World and Black Sabbath for the debut album here. Okay, we're back in the city centre, and if you're travelling into the city by coach, you'll likely end up here at Digbeth Coach Station. Painted on the wall facing a car park between the Anchor Pub and Digbeth Coach Station is a large mural tribute to Black Sabbath. So if you're in Digbeth and you've got some time to kill, the whole area is covered in all sorts of graffiti and artwork, and it's worth taking the time to check out. Conveniently located just over the road from Digbeth Coach Station is a dive bar called Subside. With 2 pool tables, live bands every Thursday, and DJs playing metal, rock, punk and ska until 6 am on weekends, Subside is the place to be for any metalhead on a Saturday night. Although it hasn't opened yet, the owners plan on announcing a launch date soon, so I expect our next stop to be in full swing by July. Spoilers will be a late night, cult movie themed rock bar that serves craft beers and food. Located next to the O2 Institute and opposite from Digbeth Coach Station, it's sure to be a great addition to the local scene. Tucked away on Dalton Street is Swordfish Records. Proudly independent since 1979, they stock thousands of rare, new and used vinyl and CDs, and it's the place I go to if I can't find an album anywhere else. Around 20 to 25 years ago, Scruffy Murphy's was, for me, the metal bar in Birmingham. It wasn't uncommon to see members of Napalm Death, Benediction, Anal Nathrak and Bolt Thrower having a few pints on a Saturday night. Scruffy's was typically the pub we'd meet at before eventually heading over to the Gallows and then Edward's No. 8 nightclub, which sadly burnt down in November of 2006. Nowadays, Scruffy still puts on gigs by local up-and-coming bands, and it's far from what it was at its peak, but if you're planning post-gig beers on a Saturday night, this is a good place to start your evening. So just down the road from Scruffy Murphy's on Dale End is HMV Vault, which is allegedly Europe's largest music and entertainment merchandiser. They stock tens of thousands of CD and vinyls, as well as loads of band merch. So when I heard somebody was opening up a metal bar in the former Burger King unit in Martin Place, I was more than a little sceptical. And I'm not going to lie, I do find the horror-inspired decor more than a little cheesy. But Merlin's is a much-needed shot in the arm for Birmingham's nightlife. The downstairs area serves a variety of hot foods, with the upstairs being a bar and club area. On the occasions I've been here, they've played a decent mix of popular rock and metal tunes as well as deeper cuts. If you're attending a ticketed gig in Birmingham, you can get 10% off food and drinks before and after the show. Merlin's is open till 2 PM on weekends and is becoming a popular alternative subside, hosting regular events and even hosting alternative markets during the daytime. So Black Sabbath are obviously the most famous and influential band to come from Birmingham, but the city was also the birthplace of a much more brutal and heavier style of music. Combining the ferocity of metal and the DIY ethos of hardcore punk, Napalm Death developed their grindcore style in the mid-1980s at a pub known as the Mermaid in Sparkhill, often playing there 3 nights a week. Currently operating as a restaurant, the Mermaid played host to a variety of alternative bands and was frequented by punks, hippies and animal rights activists that often weren't welcomed anywhere else. The Asylum is a music venue in the Jewellery Quarter, next door to Uproar Studios, which in my humble opinion is the nicest rehearsal studio in the city centre. As well as gigs, they usually have a club night on a Saturday, although it tends to cater towards a slightly younger crowd. If you're planning a visit to the city this summer, there's plenty of Instagram accounts that you can follow to keep up to date with goings on in the city. My personal favourite is A to Brum, which has a slightly more alternative take on events and things that are happening in Birmingham. Anyway, that's it for our tour around Birmingham. Check the description. So as it turns out, that isn't the end of the video. There's an exciting new addition to the landmarks that you'll want to see when you're visiting Birmingham. So new, in fact, it hasn't even been finished yet. A local artist called Mr. Mural is working on a 120-foot long mural of Black Sabbath on the wall on Navigation Street, just around the corner from New Street Station. Anyway, that's it for our tour around Birmingham. Check the description for links and more information on all the places we visited today.